were the Jews of Odessa, of Belarusia, of the Ukraine, of Russia, of Latvia and Estonia, of cities like Moscow, Minsk, Kiev, and Riga. Jews from the former Soviet Union, from small towns and large cities, and cramped shtetls. For hundreds of years, fear was their constant companion. None of them ever knew when the thundering hoofbeats of Cossacks would descend upon their town, their home, their family, to slaughter everyone they knew and loved. Gradually, the pogroms ended, but many basic privileges accorded to other Soviet citizens were denied the Jews. They were prohibited from owning the land. They could not seek work in many professions. Education was restricted, and they could not leave the country. Above all, for almost a century, they were severely restricted in the practice of their faith, of their culture. They were, in fact, held in bondage. Then, with the swiftness and unpredictability of a tidal wave, everything was different. The Soviet Union changed and then vanished. Jews were now free to leave. By tens of thousands, they journeyed to the land of their forefathers, Eretz Yisrael. At last, they were free. But even as the giant El Al planes touched down at Ben Gurion Airport, new challenges faced these immigrants. The challenge of rebuilding their lives in the modern Jewish state. For generations, they had been brought up with minimal or no contact with their religious, cultural, and national heritage. Their identity had been forced upon them by the virulent tradition of Russian anti-Semitism. As with previous waves of Aliyah, beginning from its creation in 1948 by Rabbi Alexander Lynchner and philanthropist Ira Gilden, Boys Town, Jerusalem stepped forward to help boys who were raised without the customs or the basic tenets of their own religion. It is to Boys Town's magnificent 18-acre ultra-modern campus in Jerusalem that many new arrivals come to begin a new life. Here in the dormitories and classrooms, these boys find an environment to speed the adjustment process, to learn the language, and to develop social and vocational skills. Boys Town's junior and senior high schools provide students with a strong academic education. In spacious modern classrooms, the new students learn the fundamentals of science, literature, mathematics, and the humanities. Boys Town's unique blend of Torah and technology offers state-of-the-art vocational training in electronics and advanced electronics, computer-aided design, precision mechanics, where parts for the Israeli Air Force are manufactured to tolerances of 1/10,000th of an inch. Computers now aid the new students in making the transition from Russian to Hebrew, using special Russian language teaching programs designed specifically to teach the boys Hebrew. Since many of the Russian parents are engineers and computer specialists, Boys Town's training is particularly suited to these students. Modern, comfortable dormitory facilities provide the students with a nurturing environment in which to flourish. Over 1,000 of the newly arrived Russians have attended a special Boys Town summer camp. Several hundred of these bright and highly motivated boys are now enrolled in the school. Many of the Russian boys have become members of the Boys Town Student Orchestra. To meet their special educational needs, Boys Town has developed specific programs which provide the newly arrived Russian students with workshops, recreational activities, and above all, Ulpan language training, an intensive Hebrew language reading and writing program. While they are learning Hebrew, they are enrolled in a broad range of studies taught by Russian-speaking members of the Boys Town faculty. Each Russian boy is assigned a tutor from the ranks of the postgraduates, fellow students, and counselors who live on campus. They meet after class hours to study either on a one-to-one basis or in small groups. In these intimate seminars, the boys have an opportunity to ask questions about the many new concepts of Jewish living and culture to which they are exposed. They study from basic texts on the range of Jewish practices and ideas, and are encouraged to discuss all issues relating to Jewish culture and heritage. The tutor is an essential resource for the Russian student as he struggles to assimilate and understand the rich Jewish culture and heritage to which he is being exposed for the first time. To give these students a broad perspective of life in Israel, Boys Town takes them on special outings throughout the country, from the Negev to the Galil. Most of the new students come from almost entirely non-religious backgrounds. At Boys Town, they develop their sense of religion gradually at their own pace. If boys request religious prayer articles, Boys Town provides them free of charge. One of the most joyous of events is the celebration of a new student's bar mitzvah. Here at the Western Wall, the most holy and revered site of the Jewish nation, many new arrivals celebrate their bar mitzvah. This is in sharp contrast to those days not long past, when KGB agents photographed and harassed Jews who dared to enter one of the few functioning Russian synagogues. This service is a moving expression of renewed life. The new B'nai Mitzvah are then feted with a traditional celebration. They are no longer isolated from their Jewish heritage. The adjustment to life on the Boys Town campus is gradual. The language barrier disappears first, as much on the playing field and in the dining halls as in the Ulpan language classes. Cultural differences are then overcome. Slowly, gradually, the faces of the past become the faces of the future. With the gentle and sure nurturing of Boys Town, Jerusalem's environment, the new immigrants are woven into the fabric of Israeli life and are prepared to take their place along with those who have gone before them at Boys Town as productive citizens of the State of Israel. They too will be the doctors, the engineers, the scientists, the business leaders, the Air Force pilots and officers who will lead the country into the days of peace and security. It is to this challenge that Boys Town, Jerusalem responds. As in years past, Boys Town changes as the times require. Yet its seminal mission remains steadfast: to mold boys with limited opportunity into men with unlimited futures. And in so doing, strengthen the State of Israel for the generations to come. Among Boys Town's more than 5,000 graduates from 45 countries who now live in over 140 cities, towns, and villages in Israel are 1,000 employees in Israel's high-tech industries, over 100 officers of the Israel Defense Forces, over 100 doctors, lawyers, and accountants, over 140 senior engineers and technicians, more than 500 associate engineers, and many others who are working at skilled jobs and trades throughout Israel.